Akwaba, and welcome to this week's edition of Ghana in Focus with myself, Kwame, Ghanaian broadcaster, writer, journalist, podcaster, and entrepreneur. And in this week's edition of Ghana in Focus, Ghana is not cheap, but expensive. That's the theme for this week's show. Why Ghana is not cheap, but quite expensive. So before we start the podcast, if you like what you hear, please share to your friends, family, social media networks. Please subscribe to Ghana African Focus on YouTube. Hit the notification bell, meaning that every time we upload a new podcast, YouTube will notify you of this. Also, subscribe to Ghana African Focus on Spotify. Again, click the follow button and you'll be notified by Spotify every time we upload a new podcast. All right. And if you want to help contribute to the show to keep bringing you some great content from Ghana and from Africa, then you can donate as $3 a month. You don't have to put it in all the time. You can just do a one-off payment, or you can do a monthly payment whenever you want to do so, and leave it there for as long as you like. So just look on the website, go on the Ghana African Focus website, and then click on the donate button, or you can click on the donate button in the front of the show. And like I said, you can donate as little as $3 per month. All right, so let's get into this week's podcast. Why Ghana is not cheap but expensive. So I have not done an up-to-date podcast on basically the cost of living in Ghana and how things are priced. So I think it's about time to do so now, appropriate time, given the fact that Ghana is still in the throngs of a cost of living crisis. And obviously, as you know, Ghana has elected a new president in John Dramani Mahama, who has been in power for about 4 months. All right, so like I said in the previous podcast, because Ghana imports virtually everything, yeah, and also because of the taxes that were put in place by the previous government, although this current government has got rid of about 3 of the nuisance taxes. So the government's got rid of the betting tax, the controversial e-levy, and also the what do you call it? They've also got rid of the COVID tax and also the emissions tax. But despite that, things are still quite expensive in Ghana. And I'll come into that in a minute. So so because of the cost of living crisis, things have become very, very expensive in Ghana. Like I said, despite some of these nuisance taxes being removed by this new government in their first budget that was had in April. And so if we look at things like transportation, groceries, particularly if you want to eat the food that you used to, back in America or UK or Australia or Canada, you have to pay, you pay double than what you pay here. In actual fact, I've done a comparison of foods, that we buy in the UK and, what is paid for in Ghana. So things like cereals, sauces, mayonnaise, chocolate, crisps, Pringles, etc. You pay double in Ghana, yeah, because the import duty still and some of these taxes, you're going to pay double in Ghana than what you pay in the UK, for example. So you need to watch out for that if you want to, eat, the British food or the American food or what have you. Cheese, milk, sausages, burgers, cereals, those kind of things are very expensive in Ghana. However, if you shop local, and what I mean by that, if you don't shop at these hypermalls or supermarkets that is now sprung up all over particular Accra, then if you shop at the local food sellers, so those people or those women that sell pineapples or fruits, different fruits and vegetables, etc., rice, etc., right? Then as compared to supermarket, then you pay pitiably, reasonable, cheap price for it. But still pretty expensive, but not as expensive as, fruit, vegetables, rice, etc., that you buy in the hypermarket or supermarket. So again, it's something to watch out for if you are wanting to settle in Ghana, or if you are wanting to stay in Ghana for a period of time, maybe 3 months, 6 months, and what have you. You know, you need to be aware of the cost of goods and services. Okay, internet. That's another one that's going to take a lot of your money, because in Ghana, for some reason, internet usage is very, very expensive as well. Electricity, you know, there's been about 10 or so increases in electricity over the past year. So electricity is becoming very, very expensive in Ghana, particularly if you like the air condition. Yeah, because air conditioning really eats up a lot of your units. So in Ghana, a lot of the households pay for their electricity in advance. So they buy these are prepaid meter, and they buy one of those top-up cards whereby they can top up their electricity from the Ghana Electricity Company board. I just walk into any of their kiosks and buy buy some units. So you can buy 100 cedis a day, or 200 cedis or 500 cedis for you to use. So, if you do use a lot of electricity, if you do like the air condition, and if you do, work from home remotely, then obviously you will use a lot of electricity. So again, be mindful of the prices of electricity. Water is pretty reasonable in Ghana. It's not too expensive in Ghana. Now, if you've got children, like I mentioned on the podcast years ago, but if you've got children, educating them in Ghana is not cheap. Yeah, particularly if you want to send your child to a international school. Most international schools in Ghana pay minimum 3,000 cedis a month. Now divide that by 13 to $1, and you will get how much you need to pay a term in US dollars for your child. And in pounds, divide 3,000 cedis by 17 to a pound. So it's 17 cedis to a pound, as opposed to 20 at the beginning of the month. So it's the cedi has appreciated recently against the major trading currencies, so be it the UK pound, sterling, the US dollar, and the euro. The pound has appreciated, sorry, the cedi has appreciated against these major currencies. So if you divide 3,000 cedis a term, yeah, which is just the average school fees in Ghana for an international school, divided by 17 to get your pounds, and that gives you an idea roughly of how much you will spend on your child's education in a typical Ghanaian international school. I wouldn't send my child to a state school because those state schools are poorly run, with not so great facilities, and also teachers who are not that motivated. So, if you're coming to settle in Ghana, and if you got young children, then you would definitely need to consider some of these international schools that are in Accra, particularly. And these international schools are very, very good, high quality standards of teaching. Also got very, very good facilities as well, including internet and Wi-Fi. So, I would strongly recommend that if you have got children and you bring them to Ghana, then you need to seriously look at sending them to an international school. It's expensive, but they'll be very well resourced and very, very well educated in those international schools. Again, if you look at the price of cars, I did a podcast quite some time ago, either to ship or to buy. So if you want to ship a car, bear in mind that you will pay a lot of duty at the port. So you can get a lot of cars in Ghana. So there's a lot of new cars in Ghana, from Peugeots, from Range Rovers, from Toyota Camry, Toyota Nissan, Toyota RAV, even the Land Cruisers, the Land Rovers, and even for those of you who are wealthy, filthy rich, you can get Maserati and Bugatti in Ghana. Yes, indeed, there are showrooms in Ghana, particularly Accra, that will sell Bugatti or Maserati. You can also get Jaguars as well. So, it's up to you. But if you want to ship your car, please bear in mind the extensive port duties that you'll be expected to pay when bringing in your car from either the US, UK, Canada, Australia, or mainland Europe. All right, and also you can also, like I said, you can also buy a car. So these cars are new cars. I'm not talking about the second-hand cars. These are new cars. So you can get a reasonably priced car for between 15,000 to 20,000 US dollars. So like I said, divide that by 30 into $1, and you can do the math yourself to give you a indication as to how much a new car is priced in dollars. All right, so that's one video I'm going to put down, looking at all those things: transportation, eating out, if you want to eat out, as opposed to eat local, you pay more for eating out in a restaurant than eating out in a chop bar. Internet usage, water, electricity, school fees, etc. I'm going to leave you a video by Tony and Ayo. They are an African American couple who who left the United States 5 years ago and have been in Ghana ever since. And they came to Ghana with their 2 young children. So they're a family of 4. And the video that I will leave you is about how they, as a family of 4, how they, pay for utilities, groceries, eating out, transportation, school fees, etc., etc. So that will give you an indication, particularly if you're a family, of how much it can potentially be to live in Ghana over a period of time. Now, the second video that I put down is looking at things like your home decor. So you're looking at about beddings, bed furniture, beds, wardrobes, then furniture, so sofas, etc. Office furniture as well, lampshades, and also sanctuaries like zincs and bathrooms, and also kitchens. So this second video is by a Ghanaian YouTuber called Jasmine Amma, and she has been in Ghana for 6 years. And this is a very interesting video that she does, looking at the cost of home decor in Ghana. So if you are wanting to relocate to Ghana, this video is for you, because it gives you an indication as to prices that you're going to expect to pay for things like beds, lampshades, bedding, office furniture, normal furniture for your house, etc., etc. So these 2 videos that I'm going to put down, they will give you an up-to-date, current price mechanisms of life in Ghana. So like I said, from eating out to your groceries, to your food shopping, to school fees, to internet usage, to electricity usage, food to buying, home decor, bedding, kitchen, wardrobes, etc., etc. So hopefully these 2 videos that I will put down on the Fitness to Show by Tony and Ayo, and also Jasmine Amma, those 2 videos hopefully will give you some very useful information as to the current cost of living in Ghana pertaining to everyday living in Ghana. All right, so you can subscribe to Tony and Ayo's podcast. Oh, sorry, you can subscribe to Tony and Ayo's YouTube channel. That will be, if you just click on Tony and Ayo, you should get the details. Again, likewise to Jasmine Amma. If you want to subscribe to Jasmine Amma's YouTube channel, again, just look out for Jasmine Amma, and you can look on a lot of the videos that she's done since migrating to Ghana from Australia around about 6 years ago. All right, so that's it for this week's edition of Ghana in Focus, looking about the cost of living in Ghana, why Ghana is not cheap. Ghana is very, very expensive. So you need to be mindful when you come to Ghana on holiday or for a short stay or even to settle permanently, you need to be aware that Ghana is not cheap, but can be very, very expensive. So hopefully these 2 videos will give you a current outlook as to the prices of goods and services and also home decor in Ghana. All right, so for myself, Kwame, and from all the crew here on Ghana in Focus, it's thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe to the show. Subscribe to both Ghana Africa in Focus on YouTube. Subscribe to Ghana Africa in Focus on Spotify. And we'll see you next week for some more Ghana Africa in Focus.